Young ladies and gentlemen, good day to all of you. Once again, you are welcome here on the platform of Awakening of Consciousness. Sorry for yesterday, I should have informed you, I was very busy. Moreover, it was my birthday. So, very sorry. This is the headline of international news. The former American president, Joe Biden, breaks his silence and strongly criticizes President Donald Trump. Yes, because he observed that Donald Trump has failed. He failed in his mission to bring Russia and Ukraine back to peace. And given the recent statements that Donald Trump has made, since it must be said that Donald Trump has regularly criticized Joe Biden's management. He even went so far as to say that it is because of Joe Biden that the war started on the Ukrainian side and that the conflict should never have been allowed to begin. He talked so much, Donald Trump talked so much. He spoke so much against former President Joe Biden to such an extent that the gentleman decided to break the silence. He came out, he spoke. But what he said gives pause for thought. It makes one ponder. Joe Biden broke his silence. What exactly did he say? This is what we are going to discuss in this video conference, which I ask you to share as much as possible. Give it a lot of likes. Don't forget to click on subscribe to the page. This allows you not to miss the video conferences, our video conferences on international news. Let's dive deep, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Biden was very clear. He says this: anyone who thinks Vladimir Putin will stop is simply a fool. Here's what he stated. Anyone who thinks Vladimir Putin will stop is simply you heard it. These are vexatious remarks that he used. He waited for the moment when Donald Trump is very weak in the Russo-Ukrainian situation regarding the advent of peace to make his statement. Of course, Donald Trump still managed to secure the mineral contract with Ukraine. So, a kind of compensation for the money that America spent, which Joe Biden spent, according to Donald Trump, uselessly behind Ukraine. That's already an achievement, but one that Joe Biden does not acknowledge. He steps out as a former president. He gives the reasons, he will explain. We will see shortly, he explains why he thinks Putin will not stop at all. Joe Biden is assured that Putin will not stop. He will not stop because, according to Joe Biden, Donald Trump does not understand the philosophy of Russia nor the philosophy of Vladimir Putin. He says he does not know. So, Joe Biden strives to demonstrate Vladimir Putin's philosophy. And he then justifies the real reason why it is better to wage war against Russia, to push Russia to stop, rather than trying to make peace with Russia. His voice certainly counts for what he has said. Many Americans are taking it into consideration. What is happening? What is he actually saying? What are the justifications? I want to see plenty of shares, please. Share a lot. Because this Russo-Ukrainian affair is taking another turn. Biden describes Trump's approach to Russia's war against Ukraine as a modern appeasement policy. He says it's a modern appeasement policy. It will only appease, but it will never put an end to the conflict. Never, according to Joe Biden. He is very assured in saying this. He says this. He warns that this could signal to other European countries that it's time to give in to Russia. So Donald Trump's approach could be a signal to Europeans that it's time to give in to Russia. And if the Europeans, according to him, if the Europeans join America in giving in to Russia, it would be over for Ukraine. and many other European countries. He did not mention these European countries. He did not mention the European countries, but he spoke exclusively about Ukraine. So he says this. According to Joe Biden, Putin considers Ukraine as part of the Russian Sea. Sea with a capital S. So Russia is the motherland. And Ukraine is indeed a part of it. So for Joe Biden, this is Vladimir Putin's philosophy, who considers Ukraine as part of Russia. And this, Putin cannot rid himself of this feeling. And so, either we give him all of Ukraine, or he continues to wage war. He will not stop. Even if he agrees to a ceasefire, it will just be temporary. That's why he talks about the modern appeasement policy. But he says that even if this is done, what remains clear is that Putin will always start again, since Putin considers Ukraine to be part of the Russian Sea. He continues, Joe Biden believes that Russia believes it has historical rights over Ukraine. So for Russia, Russia has historical rights over Ukraine. And if already Russia has historical rights over Ukraine, which justifies the fact that Ukraine could belong to Russia, Russia will not stop no matter what is said. So, Joe Biden says this, elite Putin may accept the collapse. Elite Putin cannot accept the collapse of the Soviet Union. That's what Putin does not want to accept. The collapse of the Soviet Union. You know, Russia used to be the former union of Soviet socialist republics. Afterwards, there was the fragmentation, and then blocks were dissected, and Russia remained there. So he says that Putin cannot accept the collapse of the Soviet Union, and anyone who thinks he will stop is simply naive. To this, he added the word dangerous. So here's what Joe Biden says. In other words, he is directly addressing Donald Trump. If the latter does not want to be in the category of people, well, he needs to understand that Putin cannot stop. If Joe Biden, if I were to say Donald Trump, realizes that Putin cannot stop, he will then abandon the modern appeasement technique that involves negotiations. In that case, what must Donald Trump do? He simply needs to go to war with Russia. That's why this matter is far from over. We have several observers who say that Donald Trump's 4 years risk passing quietly, without anything being done regarding Ukraine and Russia, since he has already started the first year. Soon, the first year will come to an end. So far, nothing concrete. The very one who had promised to resolve the conflict in 24 hours. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was the international news headline. Thank you for sharing it as much as possible. This was the voice of your host, Robert Théa.